I'm not gonna lie, Blue Jays fans, that was one of those games where the final score doesn't tell the whole story. Toronto beat the Yankees 3-1 on Friday night, which is obviously a huge win. But the thing everybody is talking about right now isn't the win. It's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. because after one of the strangest plays you'll ever see at third base, Vlad took a knee to the head, looked shaken up after scoring, and had to leave the game. He went through concussion protocol, and now the big question in Toronto is just how much time, if any, he's going to miss. Guerrero is out of the Blue Jays starting lineup for Saturday's game against New York, with Charles McAdoo starting at first base. And honestly, I think every Blue Jays fan watching that play had the same reaction. Forget the standings for a second. Forget the Yankees. Forget the playoff race. You just wanted to see Vlad get up and be okay. He did get up. He even kept running and scored the tying run. But once he crossed home plate, it was pretty clear that something wasn't right. He looked shaken up, and Toronto made the decision to take him out. John Schneider said Guerrero had a bit of a headache afterward and explained that the team was being cautious. That's the part one want to focus on right now, because we don't need to guess or make this bigger than the information we actually have. Vlad is in concussion protocol, he's out of Saturday's lineup, and the Blue Jays are being careful with their franchise star. And before we get into the rest of this, if you're a Blue Jays fan and you're following this stretch run with us, hit that like button and subscribe to Jays Nation News. We're working toward 5,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you here with us. Now, let's go back to that sixth inning, because, man, what a mess. Toronto was trailing 1-0. Guerrero was on first, Nathan Lukes was on second, and George Springer put the ball on the ground toward Yankees third baseman Ryan McMahon. McMahon stepped on third to force out Lukes, then tried to throw across the diamond to get Springer at first. But the throw got away. Luis Garcia Jr. couldn't make the play cleanly, and suddenly the entire inning turned into chaos. Guerrero saw the opening and took off for third. Garcia tried to get the ball back toward the bag. George Lombard Jr. was trying to cover, and before anybody could really settle the play down, Lombard and Guerrero collided. Lombard's left knee hit Guerrero in the head. Vlad's helmet came flying off, and just like that, a routine-looking play had turned into something nobody wanted to see. And when you see something like that, your first thought isn't about baseball. At least mine wasn't. I wasn't thinking about whether Toronto would score. I wasn't thinking about whether the Jays would win. I was just watching Vlad get up and thinking, please be okay. That's what happens when you're talking about a guy like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's not just another player on this roster. He's the face of the franchise, a six-time All-Star, and one of the biggest reasons Blue Jays fans believe this team can still make something happen this season. And somehow, even after taking that hit, Guerrero kept going. He scored the tying run. Toronto eventually took the lead in that same inning and went on to win 3-1. But Vlad didn't return to the game. Charles McAdoo replaced him at first base in the seventh, and after the game, Schneider confirmed that Guerrero was undergoing concussion testing. Now, this is where I think we need to be really careful. We know Guerrero went through concussion protocol. We know he had a headache. We know he's not in Saturday's lineup. But we do not know that he has suffered a concussion, and we don't know yet how long he might be out. That's important. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Vlad is going to miss a week, or 2 weeks, or the rest of the month. Nobody knows that yet. The Blue Jays need to let the medical process play out and see how he responds. And honestly, that's exactly what I want them to do. If there's any question about a head injury, take your time. I don't care that it's the Yankees. I don't care that every game matters. I don't care how close Toronto is to the wild card. You do not rush Vladimir Guerrero Jr. back onto the field because you need his bat. You make sure he's healthy first. Period. That's especially true because Vlad is having a season that hasn't looked quite like the one Blue Jays fans expected. He entered Friday batting .263 with a .337 on-base percentage and a .356 slugging percentage, and he had just 7 home runs on the season, with none at Rogers Center. Those numbers are obviously below the standard we're used to seeing from him. But right now, honestly, I don't care about the home run total. I don't care about the slugging percentage. I don't care whether he's been driving the ball the way we expected. If he's dealing with a possible head injury, all that comes second. The only thing I want to know is whether Vlad is okay. Then we can worry about baseball. And Saturday is already giving us part of that answer. Guerrero is not in the starting lineup, and McAdoo is taking over at first base. That doesn't automatically mean this is going to become a long-term absence. It simply means Toronto isn't taking a chance with him right now. And I'm completely fine with that. If Vlad feels better and clears the necessary protocol, great. That would be the best possible news. If he needs more time, then give him more time. Because look at where the Blue Jays are right now. Toronto entered Saturday at 60-64 and had won 4 of its last 5 games. The Jays have been trying to fight their way back into the playoff picture, and suddenly they're just 1 game behind the final American League wild card spot with 38 games remaining. So yes, there is something real to play for here. This isn't a team that can simply pack it in and start thinking about next year. The Jays have a chance to make this interesting. That's exactly why losing Vlad, even temporarily, would be such a big deal. But it's also why I don't want Toronto to make a mistake here. You don't protect the playoff race by risking your best player. You protect the playoff race by making sure your best player is healthy enough to actually help you when the games matter most. And there's something else I really liked about Friday night. Even after the scare with Guerrero, the Jays didn't fold. They found a way to beat the Yankees. The pitching kept Toronto in the game, the offense came through when it had to, and the team finished the night with a 3-1 win. That matters. It doesn't solve the Guerrero situation, but it does show that this team can still find ways to win when things get messy. Now, while everybody is focused on Vlad, there's another Blue Jays-related story that flew under the radar. And this one has nothing to do with the Major League lineup. It involves former Toronto pitching prospect Kai Peterson. On August 14th, the Fredericksburg Nationals released Peterson, a 24-year-old left-handed pitcher. This was the second time he had been released this year. Peterson was originally drafted by the Blue Jays in the 20th round of the 2023 MLB draft, and he never reached the majors with Toronto. Peterson has spent his professional career in the minor leagues. According to his minor league baseball profile, he has appeared in 98 games and struck out 183 hitters over 126 innings, with 6 saves and 6 holds. So this isn't a guy who has barely played professional baseball. He's been through the system, he's had opportunities, and he's still trying to find a place where he can continue developing. And that's honestly the tough part of professional baseball. Fans mostly see the guys wearing the big league uniforms. We see the Blue Jays lineup, the rotation, the bullpen. But underneath that, there are hundreds of players trying to get to the same place. Some get the call. Some get traded. Some get released. Some get another opportunity with a different organization. And some simply run out of chances. Peterson is looking for that next opportunity now. The Nationals moved on, and he'll have to see whether another organization wants to take a chance on him. Maybe he gets another minor league deal. Maybe another team sees something they like. Maybe he has to look outside affiliated baseball. We just don't know yet. And I want to keep that story in perspective. It's interesting, especially because Peterson was once part of the Blue Jays organization, but it's not a story that changes Toronto's major league roster today. It's not going to decide the wild card race. And it certainly isn't bigger than what's happening with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vlad is the story. And honestly, that's where I think all of our attention should be right now. Because Toronto has something to play for. The Jays have been playing better. They've won 4 of their last 5. They just beat the Yankees. They're within striking distance of a wild card spot. There is still a path here. It may be difficult, but it's there. The last thing this team needs is to panic. And I don't think they are. They pulled Guerrero from the game. They put him through concussion protocol. They kept him out of Saturday's lineup. Now they have to wait and see how he responds. That's the right process. And look, I know fans want answers immediately. I do too. I want to know when Vlad is coming back. I want to know whether he'll be in the lineup tomorrow. I want to know whether this is something that could keep him out for several games. But sometimes baseball doesn't give you those answers right away. Sometimes you just have to wait. And in this case, I'd rather wait. I'd rather have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. miss a game he could have played than rush him back before he's ready. Because one game against the Yankees is not worth gambling with the health of your franchise player. That's the bottom line. And if Vlad clears everything and is back in the lineup soon, I think every Blue Jays fan will breathe a huge sigh of relief. If he needs a little more time, then Toronto has to deal with it. That's part of a long season. The Jays still have games left. They still have a chance to make a run. And they have to trust the rest of the roster to pick up the slack until their star is ready. That's also why Friday's win was so important. Toronto didn't need a perfect game. They needed to find a way to win. And they did. The Yankees had opportunities. Toronto had to make plays. The game got completely out of control in the 6th inning, and somehow the Jays came out of it with a lead. That's the kind of win you remember if this team actually makes a run later. But right now, nobody is thinking that far ahead. Right now, we're thinking about number 27. How is Vlad feeling? What do the next tests show? When can he safely return? Those are the questions. And until we have those answers, I'm not going to pretend I know what happens next. Maybe this is a short absence. Maybe it takes longer. Maybe he clears everything quickly and we see him back sooner than expected. We just don't know. And that's okay. Let the doctors do their job. Let the team be cautious. Let Vlad take the time he needs. Because if there's one thing we've learned from watching this guy throughout his career, it's that you want Vladimir Guerrero Jr. healthy when the games really matter. And the Blue Jays still have a lot of baseball left to play. So yes, enjoy the win over the Yankees. That was a good one. Enjoy the fact that Toronto is still fighting. Enjoy the fact that this team has started to show some life again. But at the same time, keep your expectations realistic about Vlad until we get another update. And then there's Kai Peterson, who is now trying to find the next chapter of his own baseball career after being released by Washington for the 2nd time this year. Two completely different stories. One involving the face of the Blue Jays franchise. The other involving a former Toronto minor leaguer looking for another chance. But if you ask me which one matters most right now, there's no debate. It's Vlad. Because when your franchise player takes a knee to the head, leaves the game, goes through concussion protocol and then isn't in the lineup the next day, everybody is going to be watching for the next update. And I think that's exactly where Blue Jays fans are right now. We want the wins. We want the playoff push. We want to see this team make a run. But more than anything, we want Vladimir Guerrero Jr. healthy. So now I want to hear from you. When you saw that collision Friday night, what was the first thing that went through your mind? Were you worried about Vlad right away? Because I'll be honest, I was. The second I saw his helmet come off and then watched him look shaken up after crossing home plate, I stopped caring about the score. I just wanted to know if he was okay. And I think that's probably where most Blue Jays fans are right now. We can worry about the standings. We can worry about the wild card. We can worry about the Yankees. We can worry about the lineup. But first, we want to know that our guy is okay. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Do you think the Blue Jays are doing the right thing by keeping Vlad out of the lineup for now? And how concerned are you about the possibility that he could miss more time? I want to hear from you. And if you're a Blue Jays fan and you want to stay locked in for everything happening during this stretch run, make sure you subscribe to Jays Nation News. We're on the road to 5,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you here with us. For now, let's just hope the next update is a good one. Because more than anything else, we just want our guy to be okay. Take care, Vlad. And let's hope we see number 27 back in the lineup very soon.